one, you get like prices of all cops for everything, Omaree. I really wish we could get rid of you, Omaree. I think you can man or I can get rid of myself.
I don't know what they heard from over there, but we haven't. It's recorded. I haven't heard the recording of it. I can actually hear the recording of it, but they're stating that it sounded pretty violent, and I don't know how violent it got. Obviously, the kids seem like they're fine.
Oh no, that's all right. He just yelled at me, and he was.
It was the second time this little boy turned to authorities for help, and the second time those cries from a terrified child were ignored.
It was an accident. I was disciplining him and I kicked him the wrong way. It was an accident.
In June of 2013, 9-year-old Omaree Varela secretly called 911 from the back of a vehicle. In one of the worst 911 calls I have ever heard, you can hear as his mother and his stepfather verbally abuse him for over 6 minutes. Despite this boy calling 911 in a plea for help and trying to show someone exactly what he was going through, the responding officers never even listened to the 911 call. And they left scared little Omaree with the 2 people who were severely abusing him. Only 6 months later, police would respond to another 911 call from this residence. However, this time, they were responding to a 911 call that Omaree Varela was unconscious and not breathing. This is the case of Omaree Varela. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you were new here. Before I get into the details of today's video, I do want to give a major trigger warning that today's video is going to be very hard to listen to. I will be discussing severe child abuse, and I will be sharing audio clips that include severe verbal abuse. I will timestamp as many things as I can in this video in the description, so if you do feel like you need to skip something, please feel free to do so. Every single case that I cover on this channel is very hard to listen to, but I do feel like it's very important to hear. I truly believe that if this poor, sweet, innocent little child had to endure all of these things, the least we can do is listen to it. Now, with all of that being said, let's get into the details of this case and start talking about Omaree Varela. Omaree Varela was born in Albuquerque, New Mexico on February 3rd of 2004 to the parents Synthia Varela and Christopher Cluess. Synthia was actually in prison on drug trafficking charges when she gave birth to Omaree. It was discovered that she had been using during her pregnancy because Omaree actually tested positive for cocaine at birth. Omaree's father, Christopher, was also in prison at the time of Omaree's birth. Synthia Varela actually has a very lengthy list of criminal convictions. She has been in and out of prison since, from what I can see, 1995. When Omaree was born, Synthia gave power of attorney to 2 of her relatives so that they could care for him while she finished her prison sentence. In November of 2004, shortly after she got out of prison, Synthia married a man by the name of Stephen Casaus. When Omaree was just 1.5 years old, Cynthia's sister Sylvia Varela took custody of him, and he remained in her custody until he was 3 years old and he was eventually returned back to Synthia. In November of 2008, Synthia had a second child, and Stephen was not the father of this child. For this child's privacy, I will be referring to them as N, and I will not be giving the name of the birth father. Right around the time that Synthia had given birth to the second child, N, Stephen was actually sent to prison. A woman by the name of Shanna Smith, who was a family friend, took care of Omaree off and on from 2006 to 2011. Whenever Synthia was unable to care for Omaree or N, Shanna would take them in and take care of them. But she was also never officially considered a guardian for the children, and she also never registered as a foster parent. In January of 2009, an organization that assists at-risk children called PB&J Family Services, they met with the family and noted that Synthia stated that she was overwhelmed with Omaree when he would not listen to her. In April of 2009, an evaluation for an independent education program, otherwise known as IEP, they found that Omaree had significant delays when they evaluated him. The report stated that Omaree had frequent absences from school. He attended only 28 out of 69 days. And they also noted that Omaree made no progress to his goals since his very last IEP report the previous year. In September of 2009, CYFD investigated allegations that Synthia had been physically neglecting Omaree and N by continuing to use crack. The CYFD employee, Joe Roybal, was not able to locate the family, so he closed out this file stating that the allegations were unsubstantiated. During the time of late 2009 through early 2011, Synthia was incarcerated twice. One of these times was for 48 hours and another time was for 10 days. After serving 24 months, Stephen got out of prison in December of 2010. In February of 2011, Synthia gave birth to a third child. I will be referring to this child as E, and again, I will not be giving the birth father's name as, again, it is not Stephen. This child also tested positive for cocaine at birth, just like Omaree. Even after discovering the child had tested positive, CYFD allowed the hospital staff to let Synthia and Stephen take the baby home. So they took the baby home with some oxygen, and that's it. In March of 2011, after Synthia had her third child, she decided that now she was able to care for all of her children. At this time, Shanna was currently taking care of Omaree and N. So, Synthia contacted Shanna and demanded that she return her children back to her right away. She even went as far as getting help from CYFD, to which they contacted Shanna and threatened to file charges against her. They told her she would be charged with interstate kidnapping if she did not return the children back to Synthia immediately. In March of 2011, Omaree and N were placed back into the care of Synthia and Stephen. At this time, both Omaree and N had not seen Synthia or Stephen in over 18 months. And the children were still immediately placed into the care of Synthia and Stephen, even though they had not seen either of them in such a long time. And CYFD never even looked into the conditions of the home and where the children would be living. In October of 2012, CYFD investigated allegations from an unknown person. This person claimed that Synthia was physically abusing Omaree. The complaint alleged that Omaree had a bruise on his right temple and marks on his leg. And when he was asked about the injuries, he told them various stories about Synthia hitting him with the phone, or his sibling hitting him with the phone, or he also stated that Synthia hit him with a belt. When Synthia was asked about the injuries, she stated that he fell while he was playing outside. The University of New Mexico Hospital's Child Abuse Response Team, they confirmed that Omaree's injury that they investigated was consistent with being struck with a belt. And they found that, quote, Omaree continues to be at risk for abuse without preventative services. After the notation from the Child Abuse Response Team, CYFD performed a child safety assessment on both Omaree, N, and E. This assessment determined that the children were, quote, unsafe, but they listed the risk level as moderate and recommended that Synthia continue to work with support services. I'm sorry, but does this sound ridiculous to anybody else? The child safety assessment determined that the children were unsafe, but listed the risk level as moderate. I really need help understanding how unsafe and moderate are used in the same sentence here. We're talking about children. That sentence should have stopped immediately after unsafe. These children are unsafe. There should be no risk levels there. I genuinely can't wrap my mind around the fact that they have risk levels for children being in an unsafe environment. On December 24th of 2012, police arrived at the Varela-Casaus residence after employees from a local store called police after Synthia struck Omaree in the face while they were shopping. The responding officers to this case actually did do a great job and immediately took Omaree outside, away from his parents, to check if he was okay. Omaree did tell the officer that he was okay and felt safe, so the officers did leave after making sure that he was okay.
Hey. Have you been here?
I thought it was this house.
Oh, not this one. I just, and it's like, it's no luck. Get back to the top. Basically, she was in the cricket store and she slapped her kid and pushed him. And I guess it upset a lot of the employees and the customers. And so I just want to make sure the kid's okay. He's not bruised up and she, like her. You want to talk to her about what happened, and I'll talk to the kiddo for a second to switch, or vice versa? Okay.
No. Open the door. That's my Hi. Come on. Yeah, no, just come in. Go ahead and put it. What's going on?
How you doing? What's up?
We just did earlier. My son had just a little incident, and I set him down at the cricket store, and I used the wrong language. I apologize.
Okay.
I told him he needed to sit down. We touched on scissors and picked up the frosting.
I'm going to talk to him briefly for a second. Are you good in here, Ashley?
Yeah.
Come on, Dylan. Oh, you're not in trouble. Don't be upset.
I do have a caseworker that I work with. We got him in therapy. He is on medication.
What's your name?
Omaree.
What is it? Omaree. Can I talk to you out here? You're not in trouble with me, okay? All right, so don't be scared, okay? I just want to talk to you, okay? Omaree, my name's Jeff, and I'm a police officer, and I just came over today to make sure you're okay. Are you okay? What happened in the store today?
I was messing around.
You were messing around? Yeah? And what happened?
I got in trouble.
You got in trouble? Like how? What happened? Okay. You were acting up, and so what happened? Like, how'd you get in trouble, Omaree? What did your mom do to discipline you in the cricket store? Yeah, but what did she do? Did she put her hand on you? Did she strike you? Well, I think the folks at the store said that she did. You don't remember what happened? Do you feel safe in your house? Yeah? All right, pop this open for a sec.
Stop doing that.
You feel safe in your house? Yeah? Does your mom spank you a lot, or your parents? No? No, not really? Okay. Do you have any marks on you? Can I look at your arms and make sure you okay? You got a lot of hair, dude. You're gonna be a big old dude, huh? Can I see your back? Let's check you out. So do you feel safe in your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see your tummy. Show me your tummy. Okay. Okay. So you're okay? Alright. How about your brothers and sisters? Yeah? Okay. Let's go back here.
He has, don't finish this with the scissors. Just don't let Nivea get the scissors. He does have psychotherapy. It's called psychotherapy because he's diagnosed with a behavior disorder. Yeah. So he has to go once a week, and then they do once a week in home and once a week in school. Okay. And then once in the office.
You're not in trouble? Welfare check?
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead and finish. Just don't let Nivea get through the question.
Go chat with him for just a second. I think everything's fine.
Oh, yeah. Omaree, you want to go talk to her? Go show her your room. Show her what you got. Okay.
Okay. So I know you probably already talked to my partner.
Yeah, I was just showing her the medication and stuff that he's
So
on.
he's got some special needs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's considered developmentally and learning disability, behavior disability. He has psychotherapy. He has counseling in-home with case management through CYFC.
Mm-hmm.
We have case management once a week, babe? Is it here? Once a week here, once a week in school.
So
and
what are his issues?
he has behavior disorder. We were having
Okay.
issues with him trying to touch her,
Oh,
touching
okay.
himself,
Oh, he's got okay.
wetting himself outside,
Okay.
peeing on the wall.
All right. Okay. So
He does have his own room. Let me show you.
No, that's okay.
I was just going to
okay.
show you where the incident usually was.
No, that's okay. My partner probably explained you while we're here.
Yeah,
I guess there was an incident in,
well, I didn't
in the
hit.
cricket store.
Yeah, I was using wrong language.
Well,
and I shouldn't.
Well, we had heard.
No hitting. I don't hit him. I grabbed him by his jacket and set him on the chair.
But you didn't slap him?
No.
Because that's what they're saying.
No, I did not slap him.
Okay.
You can look through the videos. I didn't slap him. My husband doesn't like that. I grabbed him by his jacket, yes, and I did sit him down, and I did use the F word.
Okay.
And I did tell the officer I do apologize for using the F word, but I mean, as you can see, go ahead and finish, Chris. Here, don't let. But as far as that, he does. I do got him in therapy. I do trying to get him everything that he needs.
Okay.
Most of the school works with us, peanut butter and jelly, and CYFD.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have all three.
Let me get your name, ma'am.
SYNTHIA. Go in there. No, that's dirty. That's dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Last name is Varela.
V-A-R-E.
V is in Victor.
Uh-huh.
Varela and
Okay.
hyphenated Casaus. Does he move?
C-A-S-A-U-S.
Yes.
Okay, and
6875.
what's the phone number?
Don't throw the candy. If you're going to throw it, you're not going to do it. I asked you not to do that. If you're going to throw it, you're not going to do it.
And
Stand on the chair.
what's your son's name, Cynthia?
Omaree.
A-M-A-R-I?
O-M-A-R / over the first E. E-E. 7 is his middle name.
O-M-A-R-E/E.
No, O-M-A-R-E-E with the hyphen over the first E.
Right, gotcha.
And then last name is Varela.
What's his date of birth?
2304.
Okay. All right.
It's not sticky. Put a little.
Well, this is one of those, live in a glass house, you can't throw rocks. I've lost my temper with my children before. In a public place, it catches people's eyes, and this is where...
And I apologize to her. I told her, after I used the language, I realized, well, I shouldn't have did that.
Gotcha.
And my husband was like, babe, we're in cricket. Go take him outside and talk to him. And I'm just trying to let Omaree know I want nothing but the best for him. You know what I mean? And I know he has problems and he has a lot of things, but I told him, if you don't tell Mom what's going on and you don't tell us what's bothering you, we can't help you.
Okay.
So if you have a behavior and you act out on it, you're going to end up just getting yourself in trouble or disciplinary instead of having a better reaction.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
We're trying to show him worse than that good.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
all right. Well, what I'll do is, you already have a CYFD caseworker.
Yes.
I am obligated to tell them what happened today, but I'll just say, here's what they said at the store. Here's what you said. We've laid items on him. We spoke with him. Your explanation appears to gel with me.
that's not...
You just want to make sure that everybody's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And you could ask him, Omaree, is Mom good with you? You have everything here that you need, right? And
all right, that's fine. So I'll just let CYFD know. It doesn't appear that you community violations a lot today, but we just wanted to make sure that the kiddo was okay.
That's why when you called, I was like, yeah, that's fine.
All right.
I figured probably somebody was going to call.
All right.
Because I kind of got upset like I told her, and I cursed at the manager over there too, so.
So when you said you didn't slap him, but you said you grabbed him?
I did. When we walked into cricket, there's a bench right here,
okay.
And I kept saying, Omaree, come here, Omaree, come here. He wasn't listening to me, so I grabbed him by his jacket.
Okay.
And when I got him by his jacket, I set him on the chair.
Okay.
Because he had an accident, and I told him, you don't pee in the car, Omaree. If you're going to have an accident, tell Mom you had an accident so I could change you. We don't wait till we get in public and I find the back seat of the car all wet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I tried to tell him, and we just got him out of peeing in the habit of peeing on the walls, so now he's just in the habit of peeing on himself, and we're trying to tell him, it's okay if you do it, but let me know you did it so that you don't stink all day long, or you're not uncomfortable all day, or you pee in the car and we can't clean it and it starts smelling like pee.
Okay.
So it's just little stuff that we're trying to glitch out of the...
Gotcha.
But other than that, me physically hitting him, no.
Okay.
So,
all right, thank you. I appreciate it.
On June 22nd of 2013, Omaree secretly called 911 from a cell phone that he snuck into the back of the car. You can hear Synthia and Steven verbally abuse him in the worst ways. saying things that I would never even say to another adult, let alone a child. And again, a major trigger warning before I get into this video.
Albuquerque 911 operator 2590, where is your emergency?
It's the best for you, Omaree. You know why? Because I don't want you to be ready to having problems in your life. That's why I'm trying to teach you now that you're young. So you don't have to be growing up struggling in life. You don't want to learn, do you? You want to live a hard life, I guess. Don't you, Omaree? Now! This all the way back. I'm a big kid, man. Well, I'm a do this, man. I'm a very late down. Mainly because of this shit right here. Because of your big guy. You make everybody sick around you, Omaree. Everybody. You make me and your mom sick, man. What's up, man? Thank you, Omaree, man. You just like spicy of all cops for everything, Omaree. I really wish we could get rid of you, Omaree. I really think, man, or I can get rid of myself. Come on! She didn't do it on purpose. She didn't do it on purpose. You don't learn, do you?
It's all me. It's not on nothing now.
It doesn't matter. They don't know how to eat or drink right in here.
That's a bad thing, Omaree. A 2-year-old is stronger than you are. Close that door right. Get him. Get the Minnie Mouse. Why do you bring kids and have everybody else want to carry your shit? You don't respect to put the on your face, man.
All you is trouble, man. Trouble. Come on, man. Get in there, nigga, now.
Think of having to do this shit all the time, Omaree.
You don't even give a man. You don't care about nursing. Come on, you don't know what's about nursing. Let's get this there. Shut up. Please. Shut the up. I'm not even doing this. Shut up. I'm taking it. Why is that is not a f***ing road burn, man. How many times I shot?
Not a f***ing bruise either. That's not a bruise. This doesn't hurt, so don't act like it hurts.
You know, everything hurts you.
How can it hurt you for one day and not hurt you the next day, Omaree? It doesn't, does it? You just want attention, right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Beat the f*** out of me, come on. You got it for you can't tell me.
Please stop!
You shut the f*** up before I really f*** up you are, man.
You caused this on yourself, Omaree, because you don't want to change, do you?
All I ask of you is something simple, man. And you can't even do that for me or your mother. That's so f*** up for me, man. If you want me to be your dad, you I ain't gonna be you. Want me to never look me as your dad, right? I hate that kid, man. I love him, but I hate him.
Stop with your fake whining. Shut the up.
Try to change, Omaree. That's all we want. You understand that we want good for you. If that's so hard to understand, it is for you because you don't do nothing about it. Don't you? Don't know. You make me so sick, Omaree. Not even my worst enemy is got me as mad as you. Made me have so much hate towards a person. I never hated nobody like you in my life, ever. You know that, Omaree? I hate you more than I hated anybody in my whole life. And I've been on this earth 41 years. And nobody's ever made me feel the way you do, Omaree, ever. And you're a kid, that's sad. You don't give a you just sit there like nothing even means nothing to you. No, I can't stand you, man. I really can't stand you. I just fight with you of all ways.
I told you to dab it like that. I see what off.
You're a dumb man. You're a dumb kid, man, dumb. You ain't never gonna never learn nothing. You're never gonna be about nothing no more. You're gonna be a dumb and everybody to get along, man. Everybody to be happy. That's all I want from you. Yeah, I just want you to be happy. I want you to try. Why don't you want to try? I don't understand. You don't have to be scared or nothing in your house. I'm not never going to hurt you, and neither is Mom. We love you. We just want the best for you. That's all we want, kid. You never understand that? That's all I want for you is the best, man. I don't want you to have to suffer and live a hard life. You understand that? I want the best for you, Omaree. The best for everything.
The dispatcher who was listening in on this call sent out officers to the area and requested those officers listen to the audio before they arrived. The dispatcher told them, quote, "Hey, listen to the 911 tape. It's disturbing. It sounds like verbal abuse." Those two officers arrived on scene and never listened to that 911 call. That call that we just heard, those officers didn't even bother to listen to a single minute of that call.
We just barely drove up like 5 minutes ago. I just came from Wendy's. No, they were just fighting outside in the backyard of me. I mean, two guys in the front yard right here. There was like the Indian guy on a bike and the other man. But I don't know if they were arguing. They were just...
You have kids?
I have two kids, yes.
Kids?
Yeah. Come on, here, guys. Oh, no, we have peanut butter and jelly. We go to ABC Days Care.
Hi, girl. How are you?
And he goes to Parks and Recreation at Hodgin Elementary. He goes to counseling at Streetwise.
You guys all right?
Yeah.
There isn't any yelling or anything going on?
No, not here at all. Just right, like they told you next door, they always have yelling and fighting next door. They're drunk. There are always cops next door, always.
Yeah, so the call actually came to this house, but we don't know why that would be.
He hit off a cell phone.
He hit off the cell phone and it came right to here.
Off our cell phone?
Mm-hmm. What's your cell number?
804-2981. Oh, my baby was playing with the phone. Did you piss Mom's phone? Where's my phone? Where's Mom's phone?
Go ahead.
804-2981, is that it?
Do they have the phone number?
I'm sorry.
I think I know where it is. It was just on my phone, so I think it's on the couch where I had it when I was sitting on it. Oh, it's on the charger. Is that the phone number it was?
542
Yeah, they can show you their room.
Do we have, that means we don't have a number, is that correct?
My phone right now. It comes from my phone. No 911 calls on mine. At all. Let me see if
10-4, can you repeat the 21?
And this is the laundry room, and then we have a bedroom. Oh, pick that for Mama Marty. Okay.
What's your number, sir?
Mine is 435 5543. Yeah, I was just looking my phone.
Maybe my little phone, the 304 or...
Do you have your phone?
Your phone's right here.
I'll call it.
What's my little phone number?
Well, that number? 340
Is it a 306 number?
No.
Oh, because mine is 804-2981, or the home phone is 433-3248.
Do you have another number?
I have a little tiny phone, this one right here. I don't know the number by heart, though. If you have a phone number, do you have a phone number I can call?
So you said...
I don't have a phone number, I don't know.
Relax. So you said that
Cool.
That right here.
He's cool.
Yeah. That's a watch. His glove? You can have his glove. That's for him. That's
I'm trying to figure out what's going on, baby.
I have this phone right here, but I don't. It's a track phone for the safely, and I don't know this phone number. It says withheld. This is the phone. Hello? Okay. Yeah, that was him. He was playing with the phone.
You dial 911?
I don't know how to check. It's a brand new phone, so I don't know how to check. Maybe go to menu.
Contacts. Go to contacts. Watch it. Go contacts. Let's see. Recent calls, unknown, emergency. Oh yeah.
Emergency.
There it is right there. He gets all the phones.
Okay, this was the situation though. Okay, when whoever got on the phone, it said that he was abusing the kid or yelling at the kid.
Tell us what happened when you guys were riding in the car.
What happened when you guys were riding in the car? Was there anything?
Nothing. We went to
Because it's all recorded on 911.
Yeah, we went to Wendy's, and the only thing that I yelled is when she stood up out of her booster seat to hand me a Coke, and she dropped the Coke all over me, and I told her, get out in your car seat and put your seatbelt back on. I said, you know you're not supposed to get out of your seatbelt. And then he said, babe, that's the reason I tell you not to give them Cokes and give them food. Her because not to give them Cokes and not to give them food in the truck because the truck's going to get ruined and she's not supposed to get out of her seatbelt. Because the Coke actually went all over me.
Was there something mentioned about you saying, I wish you were never my kids or something like that?
No, he said sometimes he gets stressed out. He said sometimes I wish we never had kids.
I get stressed out with them, yeah. These are all my stepkids. It's just because they don't listen, and I was just stressed out. I was just having a bad day, and I just told her, I said, God, I told her, why did you have so many kids? Because me and her have been off and on throughout the years.
And when he went to prison, I was still married to him, and I got pregnant by somebody else. And he said, he actually took, when we went through CYFD and everything, he actually said, you know what, I'm not their father, but I will be responsible for them, he said, and I will put my name on their birth certificates or whatever. He said, but I do get stressed out. He said, I'm not really a kid person. He said, but I do get stressed out, and at times I do. He does say, God, babe, I wish you would have used protection. I wish you wouldn't have had so many kids. And it's true, though, because we were legally married, and I got pregnant 2 different times.
What's the mentioning? The call came out, too, and it says, what's the mentioning about your bruise will heal? Somebody said
mine
like
right here, I have an infusion treatment.
Oh.
And he goes, don't worry about it, don't stress, your thing will heal. They just cut me again, and I told him I'm scared I'm going to get an infection.
They said that the call sounded pretty violent.
Oh, no, well, that's the only thing that was...
were you yelling pretty good?
Yeah, he was yelling at me because we have nice cars, and I tend to let them do whatever they want in the car.
And I get them upset with them
because he's the one that always cleans up. As you notice, our house, you can't really tell we have kids. Because he constantly makes them clean up after themselves, and when they're with me,
trying to teach them responsibility.
When they're with me, I'm a little bit more lenient because he's certified to the state to take care of me because I have a brain aneurysm. So he takes care of me. And today, when they cut me, I told him they had to pay for some pills from the pharmaceutical thing, and I told him these are supposed to help with my infection. I said, but I'm still bruising. He said, babe, your bruises will heal. Your bruise will heal. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to continue to bleed, like she said, for 72 hours, but it's so sore because it's from titanium that it's going all the way up through here, and it feels like it's bruised all the way up through my chest.
Well, we understand that. I don't know what they heard from over there, but we have it there. It's recorded. I haven't heard the recording of it. I can actually hear the recording of it, but they're stating that it sounded pretty violent, and I don't know how violent it got. Obviously, the kids seem like they're fine.
Oh no, that's fine. He just yelled at me, and that's all he said. Is sometimes I wish you would have used protection, or why did you have to have all these kids? That's what he said.
And then I yelled at her because she got out of her seatbelt, and they already know better than
there was nothing.
We're getting ready to drive up.
There was nothing physical.
No. No.
We've never had any calls. We've never had any calls over here. I mean,
we've been here almost 3 years.
Yeah,
we've never had no problem like that.
And
we're not fighting people.
I think I've talked to you before somewhere.
Him?
Where have I talked to you at?
Maybe. He's been in a lot of trouble in the past.
I don't care about the trouble, but...
Maybe you know his cousin Adam Casaus.
Yes.
That's why you know him
my
from
cousin,
this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's his cousin.
My first cousin.
Oh, okay.
But I have a really good friend that's through CYFD. He used to be actually my caseworker, Benny Synthia, and I work really close with him because Omaree has a developmental delay. So there's a lot of places when I didn't have insurance for him, I didn't have Medicaid, he wasn't on his Social Security, I didn't have a lot of places or resources that I could take him.
Do you guys have a case with CYFD right now? No cases?
No.
Okay.
We're actually on the intake waiting list for peanut butter and jelly family services, just so that they can evaluate her for if she needs special education, because I want to get her into the Head Start program because they won't let her start APS till she's 6. And through peanut butter and jelly, they have a program she can start when she's 5, and she'll be 5 September 3rd.
All right.
So.
All right. Listen, I mean, you guys, you seem like good family, decent family. Just be careful on what you guys say when you say stuff like that. You know, I'm gonna overlook it right now.
Well, I was gonna say, although you say it wasn't violent, your violent is different from somebody else's perception.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like I tell him a lot of places I go, he doesn't notice that he's really loud, and I tell him, baby, you're being too loud, and he's like, I'm not being loud, but his voice is very loud.
Males, a lot of males, they carry and they're dominant, and especially like that.
We totally understand.
And we understand that, and I mean, because we have to be like that too, you know? Especially, I mean, now we're talking to you just person to person, but when we have to be aggressive, it's the same way. But you gotta understand when a phone is being kicked around, thrown around, you're yelling in the background, they don't know what's going on. And we appreciate you being honest. I mean, you told us everything that happened.
You can get it.
And we appreciate you being honest, but just be careful with that, because if somebody gets the bad, if somebody gets, you know, the bad perception on it, or if somebody sees it, you know, you're yelling, they could report it. You had a witness.
It doesn't look right, of course.
You know, I'm not saying that you guys are, doing bad and you're running.
But
you have to discipline your kids.
you gotta watch
be careful how you discipline the kids, you know, because of course they might take it a little bit wrong too, you know. So, all right. Of course, you guys. All right.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Yeah, sorry about the trouble.
It's all right. No worries. We just wanted to make sure that the kids are all right, though. Thank you. All right, you guys. Yeah, all right. Have a good one. All right.
I just wanted to ask you that because
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
because my son's 9, he's going to be 10, is it not right for us to have him do yard work or teach him to do yard work? Because our neighbor, the neighbor down the street, we had him out here, we were trying to teach him to rake and to show and to like bag it, and she was like, he's too young, you guys can get in trouble for doing that. And I said, well, my husband's helping him, they're just teaching him how to do yard work.
Absolutely not.
Go put this on the telephone.
I would teach him as early as I can, because that teaches him how to be a man.
Okay.
Responsible. Absolutely, man. That's good for you, buddy. Good for you.
You'll get real strong, too.
Come on, honey.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Take care. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye.
Something that just breaks me about this case is those officers didn't listen to the 911 call, and they just left Omaree there. They left Omaree there. They left him there after telling his parents that he just called 911 in secret. I can't imagine what they did to him after those police officers left. Let's take a moment to compare the bodycam footage to the 911 call audio, and let's see why it was so important for these officers to listen to this audio before they ever arrived to the house.
Tell us what happened when you guys were riding in the car.
What happened when you guys were riding in the car? Was there anything?
Nothing. We went to
Because it's all recorded on 911.
Yeah, we went to Wendy's, and the only thing that I yelled is when she stood up out of her booster seat to hand me a Coke, and she dropped the Coke all over me, and I told her, get down in your car seat and put your seatbelt back on. I said, you know you're not supposed to get out of your seatbelt.
Come on, you didn't do it on purpose. You didn't do it on purpose. You don't good, do you?
No, he said sometimes he gets stressed out. He said sometimes I wish we never had kids.
I get stressed out with them, yeah. These are all my stepkids. It's just because they don't listen, and I was just stressed out. I was just having a bad day, and I just told her, I said, God, I told, why did you have so many kids? Because me and her have been out.
Now! It's all the way back. Almost 8 years, man. Well,
he actually said, you know what, I'm not their father.
but I will be responsible for them, he said, and I will put my name on their birth certificates or whatever.
You want me to be your dad? You are you gonna be you? Want me to never look me as your dad?
There was nothing physical.
No, oh no.
We've never had any calls. We've never.
You don't know what nursing. Shut up, please. I'm not even doing this.
Just 6 months after that 911 call, Synthia called 911 to report that Omaree was unconscious and not breathing inside of their home. 6 months later, the responding officers to the first 911 call could have absolutely saved Omaree's life had they just listened to the call. But 6 months later, it became too late to help him anymore.
Police operator 4830, how may I help you?
Yeah, I just called my son's pediatrician. My son was playing on it's a metal horse, like a rocking horse. I had just gave him his medication. He's on new medication. I'm disabled. He was playing with my 2-year-old. My 2-year-old pushed him off the horse, and it looked kind of like he was having a seizure or something. So I was trying to do CPR and push on his chest and try to get him thing.
What address are you at?
He's really out of it.
Hold on. How old is your son?
He's 9.
And he was pushed off a metal horse?
Yeah, he was playing on it, and my little boy gets real aggressive and doesn't like to share him. So I thought Omaree's leg had got stuck, and he hadn't had enough time to catch himself, but he didn't catch himself, and I heard him hit his head. So I tried to pushing on his stomach, trying to get him, and my little boy was getting really excited and saying, "Mari, play, and I tried to put cold water on him.
His head, did he stop breathing?
No, he hasn't stopped breathing, but he hit it. I tried to put cold water on him. He has ADHD and behavior problems.
Is he responding?
So no, he's not responding.
Okay, let's get paramedics on the line 1 second.
Albuquerque, blue. Where is he? Leave the door open. Where is he? Where is he?
He's right here.
Which one?
Right here. He's right here.
All right.
Yeah, I got him right here. He told me to call you. That's what he told me to do.
Can you back up? Go ahead and back up. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. You find out what he did? Can you take the kids out of here? I got no pulse. Okay, I need you to hold on to the kids and stay here with the kids. And try not to use the phone right now. We pay more attention to the kids than the phone. Thank you.
On December 27th of 2013 at 4:30 p.m., Synthia called 911 to report that her 9-year-old son, Omaree Varela, was unresponsive in their home. When officers arrived, they found Synthia, Stephen, and 2 children inside of the home. And they also found Omaree lying unresponsive on a bed. Police were never able to detect breathing or a heartbeat from him, and his skin was cold to the touch. At 4:36 p.m., paramedics arrived. They initiated CPR and administered drugs to try to start his heart, but they never got a response from him. They began transporting him to the hospital and arrived at around 5:20 p.m. Again, after he arrived at the hospital, the doctors were never able to get any response from him. Omaree Varela was pronounced deceased at 5:32 p.m., but it is believed that he passed away before police even arrived to the home. Investigators asked Stephen what happened that day. At first, he told police that he woke up around noon and then he went over to his friend's house to work on a car. He stated that he didn't come home until 2 p.m. until after Synthia called him to tell him that Omaree fell off a bouncy horse toy. He then changed his story, stating that he never left home that day. Instead, he stated that he woke up around 2 p.m. and he went to the restroom to use drugs. While he was in there, he heard Synthia yelling at Omaree, and by the time he came out of the restroom, Omaree was lying on the floor unconscious. When he was asked why he didn't call 911 right then and there, he stated that he thought Omaree was faking it. Then, in a third recount of what happened, he stated that after he woke up around noon, he went to go use drugs in the bathroom. He stated that while he was in there, he heard Synthia yelling at Omaree, followed by tumbles and stumbles. He came out of the restroom and saw Synthia standing over Omaree yelling at him. He didn't really think there was anything he could do, so he went back into the restroom and continued to use drugs. After coming out of the bathroom the second time, he stated that he saw Omaree lying on the floor unconscious. At the time he saw Omaree was unconscious, he said it was around 2 or 2:30 p.m. Remember, 911 was not called until 4:30 p.m. When he was asked again why he never called 911, he stated this time it was because he didn't know where any of the phones were inside of the house. In all 3 accounts of what happened, he admits to never trying to call 911. He also admitted to telling the other kids to not say anything to any of the officers that arrived to the home. When police asked Synthia what happened, she originally stated that Omaree was pushed off of a toy horse by his little brother, but eventually she did end up confessing. She stated that she began kicking him in the stomach because he wouldn't listen to her. She stated that while she was kicking him, Omaree began to fall and he slammed his head onto a nearby dresser and then onto the ground. Synthia stated that after Omaree fell to the ground, she continued to kick him 2 more times near his stomach and then stomped on him. It was revealed that Synthia waited 2 hours after Omaree stopped breathing to call 911. She actually called 3 other people before calling 911, including one of Stephen's relatives and 2 of her friends. On this same day, Synthia and Stephen were both charged with several charges regarding the death of Omaree. At his trial, it was revealed the true extent of Omaree's injuries from that night. Stephen's attorneys claimed that although he did absolutely nothing to help Omaree, not even bother calling 911, that there was nothing Stephen could have done to save him anyways. So their defense was that Synthia should be charged with everything regarding his murder, and Stephen should be charged with nothing. Omaree's autopsy revealed that there were contusions on his chest, arms, legs, and tongue. He had abrasions on the face, a healing laceration on his scalp, hemorrhaging into the muscles between the ribs, the soft tissues of the back, into the diaphragm, into the abdominal wall muscle, into the abdominal cavity, into the soft tissues around the pancreas and left kidney, and hemorrhaging on the outer surface of the bowel. He also had injuries to his chest that were consistent to thermal injuries or burns. The healing laceration on his scalp was believed to be done by being hit with a hard object or blunt force trauma. That laceration was believed to be at least several days old by the time Omaree died.
And what all did you notice about Omaree's condition?
So the most important thing to notice was that when he came in, he was dead. There was no pulse, there was no breathing, there were no signs of life. So that's the most remarkable thing. The other things that I noted that were remarkable were he had multiple bruises about his body. He had a bruise and a abrasion or laceration over his left forehead. He had these unusual kind of diamond-shaped or square-shaped kind skin discolorations about his nipples. His abdomen was distended, and he had what looked like a bite mark to his right wrist or forearm.
Okay. Did you run lab work on him?
We did. There wasn't a whole lot of lab work to do, but we did what's called an ISTAT gas, and that's it looks at your acid-base balance and your electrolytes. We did a glucose, and it also looks at your kind of red blood cell count, if you will.
Okay. I think you said you checked his pH.
We checked his pH. That's what that does. So it checks pH, electrolytes, and hemoglobin and hematocrit.
And how was that?
So it was very low. His pH was very low. When the sicker you get, the more acidotic you get. A normal pH is about 7.4. His was 6.5. I've never seen anybody survive with that low of a pH. So he had a very low pH. He also had a low hemoglobin and hematocrit, and those are your kind of red blood cell counts.
And do those indicate anything else?
So those would indicate that he had lost blood from somewhere, a significant amount of blood, because they're about a third what they should be.
Did you see any signs of blood loss on his exterior body?
There didn't appear to be significant signs of loss there. There was some blood from the rectum, but that is usually a terminal event. So when people are dying, they will often stop perfusing their my understanding of it is they stop perfusing their colon, and it dies and bleeds. You said his stomach was distended. Did that indicate anything to you? So it can mean a few things, but one thing we worry about is blood in the abdomen.
Okay. Could it have been that the blood that came from his rectum came from his abdomen?
It's unlikely. So when you lose blood into your abdomen, it doesn't go through your whole digestive tract.
Okay.
It just goes outside. And so, for example, somebody who would have an injury to their abdomen would initially be in pain, and then their abdomen would get more and more distended with the blood, and they'd be in a lot of pain, and eventually they would pass out and eventually die.
Okay. And again, how long did you continue to try to resuscitate him?
Approximately 20 minutes.
Okay. And then he was pronounced dead?
That's right.
And this doesn't necessarily mean that that's the time he actually died, is that correct?
No. I think you could argue not to have done any more resuscitation. The EMS providers had done what sounded like at least half an hour of resuscitation without any signs of life. He showed up dead. We, in an otherwise healthy 9-year-old, we tried to do everything we could, but I think you could make an argument that he was dead on arrival and there was really nothing to do.
Okay.
Did you used to have a brother named Omaree? Yes. What happened to him?
He got hurt.
How did he get hurt?
He got hit.
Who did him?
My dad and my mom.
Do you remember what happened that day?
No.
And do you remember how they hurt him?
They slapped him, they punched him, they kicked him.
And did you see this happen?
Yes.
Do you know
Well, but if you remember, I did.
when you came out of your room, you did?
Yeah.
What made you come out of your room?
Because I heard somebody screaming.
And so, where was this person screaming in your house?
My room.
And so what did you see when you went out there?
I forgot.
Who was screaming? What was he saying?
He was saying hi.
Why was he saying how?
Because he got hurt.
And how do you know that he was hurt?
Because I know he's scared that it's hurt.
And I'd like to show another drawing that had been admitted but was not published by the defense. And this is labeled as Exhibit G. Do you recognize this one as well?
Yes, sir.
What's in this one?
She drew herself, Mom and Dad.
And what did she write at the top?
She put that she was sad and that she was mad.
And then there's some writing at the bottom. And what's that writing?
I asked her what's going on in your picture, and she put that she was crying because Mom was punching her heart and that Daddy was laughing.
I want to show you what was marked as Exhibit B, and I believe this was shown, but I'd like you to explain this one as well. What is depicted in this drawing?
She has herself, Mom, Dad, and Omaree. And she started off, she drew herself. And then she drew Omaree. And then she wrote, I am mad at Mom and Dad. And then she continued to draw. Next character she drew was Mom. And she had a really hard time drawing Mom. Took a break, cried, then drew Dad. Still really hard time. Took a break, cried. And I told her, and she's just, why, Auntie? Why? I'm so mad. And I told her, show me mad. Show me how mad you are. So she got her pencil. She just scribbled. And I let her just scribble and scribble until she stopped. And I was like, that's your mad? She was like, oh, yeah. And I told her, is there anything else, baby, that you need to put on here? And she drew the faces. So I asked her, what are the faces? And she's all sad, mad, happy. But I'm not happy right now. And I told her, can you tell me about your drawing and your picture and what's going on? And she cried through it. She thought Mommy was kicking him. Daddy was kicking him in the stomach. And then she grieved and started calling out for her brother and asking why. Why did they have to be mean to him? He was good.
After a week-long trial, Stephen was found guilty on all charges. He was originally sentenced to 35 years in prison, but in 2019 it was cut down to just 14 years. Stephen Casaus was originally charged with reckless abuse of a child resulting in death, abuse of a child not resulting in death, intentional child abuse not resulting in death, 3 other separate charges of child abuse, tampering with evidence, and 2 charges of bribery of a witness. The decision to lower his sentence came after an appeals court ruling that vacated the child abuse resulting in death conviction. This means that the appeals court completely removed the child abuse conviction on Stephen's case. The appeals court ruled that prosecutors, quote, failed to show that Omaree died because Stephen waited to call 911. After the main charges in this case were acquitted by the court, he is now only charged with the child abuse not resulting in death charges, tampering with evidence, and bribery of a witness. He is also serving an unrelated sentence for 19 years for a drug and firearms case.
Your Honor, this has been one of the horrificest things that I've ever had to endure in my life. People that know me, they know how much I love my family and my kids. I'm heartbroken every day dealing with this. I'll never heal from this. I miss my son and my family each and every day, my kids. It's horrible what happened. God knows the truth and I know the truth. And I know that in the end, on that judgment day when it comes, the final judgment day, I will be reunited with my son again. I wish I could bring him back and I would take his place for him or any of my family if I could. But I can't do that. Yes, I have made some mistakes in my life, but being a child abuser is not one. I gave my whole heart and my whole life to my children and to my wife and my family. That's all I wanted, was to give them all a good life. And I tried with my everything. My kids were not abused like everybody's making it out to be. I know I was there. And I raised them the best that I could. I will always love my baby, and I will miss him forever. And I know that there's nothing I can do to bring him back. But I just want him to rest in peace, and I want my babies to be, so they can try to heal and get through this time. I don't want this time to, so they can get through past this and try to live a better life. I don't want no bad for nobody. I just ask that God just bless us all, and like I said, He knows the truth and I know the truth. I love my kids with all my heart and soul, and I would give my life for them if I could. If I could bring Omaree back, I would, but I can't. I'm sorry that this had to happen. I don't know why it did, but I just ask that you just, everybody, I forgive everybody. I know there's a lot of people, this was a devastating thing and it was a tragic event for everybody. But I forgive everybody, and I just ask that everybody just look into their hearts and see the real truth of the matter, and know that I'm not a monster. I'm not an evil man. I'm a loving, kind, gentle, understanding man. Yes, I've made mistakes in my life, like I said, but I've owned up for my mistakes, and I will pay for my mistakes, whatever I've done wrong. I'm here to stand in front of you today, Your Honor, and just ask that you just consider that and look into your heart and see that I'm not this man and this monster that they're trying to make me out to be. I love my kids, I love my family. There's nothing more that I can say that would bring Mahito back. There's nothing at all that I could say. I'm thankful to David and Sylvia for taking my babies and raising them, and I know that they will do good with them and give them a good life. I've forgiven my wife, and I pray for her every day. I pray for us all every day, and I just ask that the Lord just forgive us and just see us through this. And I don't want no more children to be hurt. I don't want no more violence. I just ask for love, peace, happiness, and joy for everybody in the world. I'm going to try to give back as much as I can for children that are abused. You know, in the future, I'm going to try to be a mentor to children and to young adults. You know, that's going to be my goal. But I don't know. It's hard for me. It's very hard. I struggle every single day, every day of my life, because I wish that day could have been different. But I guess God had His plans already set in motion, so I don't understand it. But hopefully one day He'll reunite me with Him, and I'm don't know, I'm at a loss for words, Your Honor, but thank you for hearing me out, and I just ask for forgiveness from everybody. You know, I know the truth, and the truth is that I'm innocent of this, but I'm here today manning up. You know, I could have, there's other options that could have happened, but I just asked you to consider that.
Synthia Varela pled guilty to second-degree murder, child abuse, and tampering with evidence. She was sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Ms. Varela-Casaus, in count 8 of the information, it alleges that on or about December 27, 2013, here in Bernalillo County, New Mexico, that you did murder Omaree Varela and knew that your acts created a strong probability of death or great bodily harm contrary to New Mexico law. Are those allegations true? Are those allegations true?
Yeah.
The court will suspend all but 40 years for an actual term of incarceration in the New Mexico Department of Corrections of 40 years. That will be followed by a term of parole, as well a term of supervised probation of 5 years.
Just in case you're wondering what exactly happened to the police officers who ignored Omaree's call for help, one of the officers was confirmed to be fired after this 911 call, Officer Gil Vigil. But the other officer, Officer Scott McMurrow, was just suspended for 56 hours. From what I was able to find, Scott was still an officer for Albuquerque Police Department back in 2018. This is when he was honored at an event called the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention New Mexico Chapters Out of the Darkness Walk. After Omaree's death, both of the surviving children were taken into the custody of CYFD. After this, N, the second child, stated that they had been abused by both Synthia and Stephen. They reported that they were hit with a belt buckle by Synthia, punched in the forehead by Stephen, and had been locked in a dark room or a closet multiple times. They also stated that Synthia had choked them before. After N was evaluated, it was found that they also had healed burn marks on their skin, as well as multiple healed abrasions throughout their entire body. The two children are now in the custody of Synthia Varela. Both children appear to be doing great and are very active and energetic and are in a very safe and loving home. Synthia Varela obtained custody of these children in 2014. Omaree Varela would have been 20 years old this month. He would have finished school, maybe started college. He could have been working at a job that he loved, or maybe even a job that he hated. He would have been a living, breathing 20-year-old man right now. But because of Synthia Varela and Stephen Casaus, Omaree will forever be just 9 years old. Before I end this video, I want to take a moment to send my sincerest condolences to the loved ones and friends of Omaree Varela. So, like I said towards the beginning of this video, this one is going to be a very hard one to listen to. It's one of those cases where I don't know what else to say at the end of this video. If you've stuck around to this part of the video, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Omaree's entire case. I genuinely appreciate every single one of you being here. That's all I have for you guys today, but thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you next time.